Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. It is your girl Alana Simone. So first of all, I wanted to welcome you guys in. I pray and hope that you're having an amazing day. So today we're going to be talking about victory in the end. This is really a video I wanted to encourage you with today. Oftentimes we go through life and sometimes, we can go through things that may not be the best, or we can go through circumstances that, we are in the valley and we're contemplating what we about to do with our life. And it's like, okay, should I continue to hold on? Should I continue to trust God? Should I continue to, hold on to what he has spoken over my life, and the things that he has instructed me to do? Because sometimes we do things that, God asks us to do, and we may not see the fruit of it right away. We may not see the results of why he's asking us to do certain stuff. And so it's like you sitting there like, okay, you obeying, you doing stuff, but then a little birdie comes in your ear and starts whispering, you really think God's really going to, bless you with a husband? Do you really think God is going to, find you a man or woman that's going to wait till marriage to have sex with you? Do you really think that, God is going to bless you with this new house and bless you with this new job? You really think that that's going to happen? Because, you've been on this journey for a little while. It's been 5 years and I haven't really seen anything. And so, I don't really think that that's going to happen for you, sis. And so that little birdie or whatever is in your ear talking, and you're like, well, I know, but God told me this. But you start hearing that little birdie and voice in your ear, and it's like, then you start questioning what God has said. Then you start, debating, well, you might be right, because I have been waiting, for about 5 years now to have sex and stuff like that. I've been on the celibate journey, but I don't really think that there's no one, really doing that anymore. So I don't know why I'm waiting anymore. And, I know God may have said in the past, I might have received a prophecy that said I'm going to get a house and, all this stuff. But it's been a couple years now, and I don't really know if that's going to happen. And so what happens? We allow that voice in our head to start introducing discouragement into our lives, introducing questioning into our life, to where we start to even question sometimes what God has spoken over our life. And so oftentimes we never really get to experience the victory in the end, because a lot of people allow that little birdie to come in their ear and talk them out of the things that God has instructed them to do, talk them out of the promises that he has promised over their life, because of their current circumstances, because it's been a couple years. It's been 50 million years and I haven't seen nothing. So I don't really think that this is going to work. So what happens? People compromise. People then decide to just get off the journey that God, has called them to just settle, to just compromise for the things of this world. Because why? They didn't see anything when they, even it's been a couple years and they're just like, they still didn't see anything. And so what happens is they give up. They give up on their dreams. They give up on the promises of God. They give up on everything just because they haven't seen anything, and because they allowed that voice to come in their head and discourage them and make them feel like what God has spoken wouldn't come to pass in their life. And so today I wanted to just encourage you today to know that if God has spoken something over your life, he will do what he has spoken. He is not a man that he shall lie. And so sometimes what happens on our journey with him is that we can get discouraged. We can feel defeated, and we can feel like hopeless, because God may have instructed us to do something, and we start doing it, and we may not see the results or the fruit of it right away. And so what happens? We may continue to go for a little bit longer, but we stop. We stop because we're like, well, I'm not seeing what he has spoken. But that's not negating what he has spoken. You know what I'm saying? And so just because we're not seeing it when we, in our timing and when we think it was supposed to happen, does not mean it's not going to happen at a set time in the future. And so what happens is people end up you know, counting out their own blessings and really delaying the promises of God in their life because they give up or they decide to compromise the things that God has instructed them to do. And so, you know, if they were once on a journey to wait till marriage, but they allowed their friend to come in their ear and say, you know, there's not really society, like you're not going to find no guy or no girl that's going to do that and blah, blah, blah. Then what happens? Discouragement sets in and you start questioning the things that you knew was once right. Now you start questioning because you're looking at your circumstance, you're looking at the situation around you, and you're looking at the world from a worldly perspective instead of a spiritual perspective, which is the perspective of God. And so that's what we need to make sure we keep our focus on, is the perspective of God, and knowing that the things that He's instructed us to do, it not necessarily is going to happen in an instant at that moment, but sometimes He wants to take us on a journey to be able to prepare us for the things that we've asked for, prepare us for the places and things that He is going to do in our life and take us in our life. But what oftentimes we don't look at the big picture, and we don't imagine having victory in the end. We don't imagine crossing the finish line and being like, yay, and everybody cheering you on. Because we get stuck in our circumstances. We allow people to get in our ear, and we allow our own human thinking to talk us out of what God has spoken over our life. And so victory is the plan. Victory is always the plan in the end of our life, and the things that God, wants to do in our life. But we sometimes don't get to see the victory because we compromise in the waiting, we compromise in the process, and we forfeit everything that God wanted to do in our life. So today I just wanted to remind you to keep the faith, keep your eyes and your mind set, focused on God. People may come and try to discourage you. Listen, I've had 50 million people try to come and discourage me in my life, but I know who I am, I know whose I am, and I know the voice of God clearly for myself. And so anytime anybody tried to discourage me, anytime anybody tried to come in my life and speak against what God has spoken to me, it went in one ear, went out the next. Because that's how rooted you need to be in God. That's how strong your foundation needs to be in God. To when people come and try to discourage you, people come and try to give their own opinion of how they think your life should be and what your journey should be, you can respect and honor and listen to them, but you don't have to receive anything that God has not did not speak. Like if God spoke something to you and somebody else comes and tries to contradict what He said, when you know for sure God's voice, because sometimes people really do be not hearing clearly from God and they be really in their own opinions and thinking. But when you know the voice of God for yourself, it's not, you don't have to waver in your faith. You don't have to waver in the things that He's instructed you to do, because you know what He said, and you know who He is, and you know that He is not a man that He shall lie, and He will make every single thing in your life come to pass. And the same people who may have tried to discourage you or tried to speak against you, they'll have a front row seat to what God is going to do in your life. And it'll be amazing. That's when you don't got to really fight battles. When you let God fight your battle for you, it's a glorious thing, because you can relax and you can just continue to obey what He's instructed you to do. He will do the rest. He will put all the other pieces together and people's mind will be blown. So, be encouraged today, because but it comes with maturity. Like, I've been a believer and I've known God my whole life, like from my birth till even now. What has happened is I've just grown in my maturity level with God. And so, I can look at things and continue to, I don't have to when people try to discourage me or anything like that, it doesn't faze me, because the maturity level that I am at with God, it's another level. So maybe like a new believer who may have just, accepted God into your life, it may be easier for them to get discouraged, which is so normal. And I want you to know that's very normal. And it can take a little bit of time to get to this point of just not really caring what other people think and really knowing God's voice for yourself. But don't beat yourself up because, you know, you haven't reached that level yet. It's a journey, like it's a process. And the biggest thing is I will encourage you with is just continue to move forward. And with time, it builds upon itself. With time, you mature as a believer and you mature in your relationship with Christ. And so when people try to discourage you or when things in your life, you know, try to knock you down, you can stand firm in knowing that God is with you and that you don't have to compromise for the things of this world and, you know, all this stuff. So be encouraged today. You know, sometimes we can get defeated and sometimes we can like waver in our faith or like waver in the journey to think that if God going to do things in my life or not. But let me tell you, victory is in the end to those who obey and follow the instructions of God. And so, you know, sometimes we may not understand his timing and all that stuff, but that's not for us to understand. What's for us to understand is to continue to walk and continue to obey and continue to follow the instructions that he has for our life. So you guys, I thank you so much for being here. I thank you just for listening and really being open to hearing something different. And I really just pray that this video encouraged you or just gave you some new insight and that you can receive victory in the end of the things that God has promised in your life. So I thank you for being here and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.